Imagine being so obsessed with coding that you sneak out of your house at 3 a.m. to use a computer terminal. Imagine dropping out of Harvard, the most prestigious university in the world, to start a company that almost nobody believed in. Imagine becoming the richest person on earth, not by digging for gold, but by writing lines of code on a teletype machine. Now imagine that same man in the second half of his life, giving away more money than any human being in history. Not as a tax dodge, not as a publicity stunt, but because he looked at a child dying of malaria in a village without clean water and thought, that is my problem too. This is not a story about a saint. Bill Gates was ruthless. He crushed competitors. He was deposed in antitrust lawsuits. He was called a monopolist, a pirate, and a villain. But this is also a story about the most hopeful transformation you will ever see. A nerd who changed how the world works and then decided that changing how the world lives was more important. Welcome to our channel. Today we are telling the story of William Henry Gates III. And by the end, you will understand that it is never too late to become a different person. Bill Gates was born on October 28, 1955, in Seattle, Washington. His father was a prominent lawyer. His mother was a civic leader who served on national boards. They were comfortable, loving, and deeply concerned about their second son. Bill did not socialize. He did not want to play sports. He wanted to read. And when he discovered computers, he wanted nothing else. In 1968, Bill's private school, Lakeside, bought a teletype terminal connected to a mainframe computer. The school had no idea what to do with it. Bill did. He taught himself basic programming. He and his friend Paul Allen would skip gym class to write code. They broke the school's security system. They were banned from the computer. Then they struck a deal. Find bugs for the computer company and they could use the machine for free at night. At 3 a.m., 13-year-old Bill Gates would walk alone through the dark Seattle streets to the computer lab. He wrote programs for hours. He did not get tired. He did not get bored. He got better. His parents were worried. They sent him to a therapist. The therapist said, "Let him code. You cannot stop this. You can only guide it." Bill later said, "I was lucky. My parents didn't try to make me normal. They tried to make me effective." Bill Gates went to Harvard in 1973. He studied applied mathematics. He was brilliant but restless. He would sleep for 2 hours, work for 36 hours, crash and start again. He played poker obsessively. He did not care about grades. He cared about one thing. Could machines think? In December 1974, Paul Allen ran through Harvard Square to Bill's dorm room. He was holding a copy of Popular Electronics. The cover showed the Altair 8800, the first personal computer kit. Paul said, "This is it. This is the moment. This is happening without us." Bill looked at the article. The Altair had no software, no operating system, no language. Bill picked up the phone. He called Ed Roberts, the creator of the Altair. He lied. "We have written a basic interpreter for your machine. Do you want to see it?" They had not written a single line of code. For 8 weeks, Bill and Paul worked day and night in Harvard's computer lab. Bill did not sleep more than 2 hours at a stretch. He lost track of what day it was. His roommate said, Bill's eyes looked like 2 burning holes in a blanket. They finished the code without ever having touched an Altair machine. They flew to Albuquerque. It worked perfectly on the first try. Ed Roberts was stunned. He bought their software. Bill Gates dropped out of Harvard in his junior year. He never went back. Bill and Paul founded Microsoft in Albuquerque in 1976. The name stood for Microcomputer Software. Their first product was the Basic Interpreter. But Bill had a much bigger idea. He believed that every desk would have a computer. And every computer would need an operating system. In 1980, IBM came to Microsoft. They were building their first personal computer. They needed an operating system. Bill did not have one. He sent Paul Allen to buy a simple operating system from a small company called Seattle Computer Products for $50,000. He renamed it MS-DOS. He licensed it to IBM, but crucially he kept the right to sell it to other computer makers. That single decision made Bill Gates a billionaire. As clone computers flooded the market, every single one paid Microsoft a royalty. MS-DOS became the standard. Microsoft became the operating system of the world. In 1985, Microsoft released Windows, a graphical interface that would eventually run on 90% of the world's computers. Bill was 30 years old. He was the youngest billionaire in American history. He worked like a demon. He memorized employees' license plates to know who arrived early and who left late. He read every line of code. He screamed at product managers. He threw chairs. He was a genius and a terror. But he never stopped believing in the vision. A computer on every desk and in every home. Success brought enemies. Competing companies accused Microsoft of using its monopoly to crush Netscape, WordPerfect, and other software makers. The U.S. Department of Justice filed an antitrust lawsuit. In 1998, Bill Gates sat for a deposition that became infamous. He was evasive. He said, "I don't recall," more than 100 times. He smirked. The video leaks made him look arrogant and contemptible. The judge ruled that Microsoft was a monopoly. The company nearly broke up. Although the breakup was overturned on appeal, Bill's reputation was shattered. He went from visionary to villain overnight. He later admitted, "I was too aggressive. I was too young. I didn't see that winning at all costs was losing something bigger." For the first time in his life, Bill Gates stepped back. He left the CEO role in 2000. He gave the job to his friend Steve Ballmer. He stayed on as chairman, but he needed something new. He needed a second act. In 2000, Bill and his then-wife Melinda created the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It was the largest charitable foundation in history. Bill put his fortune into it, not at the end of his life but in the middle of it. He stopped focusing on windows. He started focusing on toilets, and malaria, and polio, and tuberculosis, and the fact that millions of children were dying of diseases that had been solved in rich countries for a century. Bill read every scientific paper on global health. He learned epidemiology. He invested billions in vaccine research, not for profit but for distribution. He negotiated with pharmaceutical companies to lower the price of life-saving medicines for the poorest nations. He visited slums in India. He walked through villages in Nigeria. He sat with mothers who had lost 3 children to diarrhea, a disease that kills 500,000 children a year, but can be prevented with a $1 vaccine. Bill said, "It is obscene that a child dies of a disease we know how to cure." He used his business brain to solve humanitarian problems. He created market incentives for vaccines. He funded research into a reinvented toilet that works without sewers. He gave $10 billion to pay for vaccines for the world's poorest children. By 2014, the Gates Foundation had saved an estimated 122 million lives. In 2008, Bill Gates retired from full-time work at Microsoft. He said, "I will spend my time on the things that keep me up at night." He wrote annual letters about climate change, energy, and education. He funded nuclear energy research. He bought farmland to promote sustainable agriculture. He gave billions to fight HIV and malaria. He also did something no billionaire had done before. He publicly admitted he was wrong. He admitted that his antitrust deposition was a disaster. He admitted that he should have listened to some competitors. He admitted that his foundation had made mistakes in education reform. At a TED conference, he released a jar of mosquitoes into the audience to prove a point about malaria transmission. People screamed. He laughed. Then he said, "Not just poor people should experience this. We need to feel the problem." He became a beloved elder statesman, not because he was perfect but because he was transparent. He showed us that you can be ruthless in your 20s, rich in your 30s, humbled in your 40s, and wise in your 50s. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit, Bill Gates had already written a 2015 TED Talk warning that the world was not ready for a pandemic. He had funded vaccine research for years. He said, "If anything kills 10 million people in the next few decades, it is likely to be a highly infectious virus, not a war." People called him a conspiracy theorist. They said he wanted to microchip people. They burned his books. They marched outside his house. Bill ignored them. He spent billions of dollars funding the production of COVID vaccines before they were approved, a massive financial risk. He paid for factories to be built for Oxford/AstraZeneca, Pfizer, and Moderna. He said, "If the vaccines work, the factories are ready. If they don't, I lose my money. That is an acceptable bet." The vaccines worked. Millions of lives were saved. Bill did not take a penny in profit. Today, Bill Gates is no longer the richest person in the world. He has given away over $60 billion. He and Melinda have since divorced, but the foundation continues its work. He has pledged to give away 99% of his wealth before he dies. Bill Gates is not perfect. He still flies on private jets. He still argues with people on Twitter. He still has a massive carbon footprint even as he funds climate solutions. He is a complicated, contradictory human being. But the hope in his story is this: he changed. He was the ultimate capitalist, the man who built the monopoly, crushed the competition, and became the richest man in the world. And then he decided that being the richest was meaningless if children were dying of preventable diseases. He said, "It is not about the money. It is about the impact." The two happiest days of my life were the day I dropped out of Harvard and the day I stopped running Microsoft. To our audience in the USA, the UK, and Canada, you are watching this video in a world that tells you that people do not change, that billionaires are evil, that success corrupts, that you are defined forever by your worst moment. Bill Gates is the living proof that you can be a villain and a hero in the same lifetime. You can be arrogant and humble. You can be obsessed with profit and then obsessed with purpose. You can fail at being a good person and then try again harder. If you are stuck in a version of yourself that you do not like, if you have made mistakes that feel unforgivable, people have written you off. Remember the boy who snuck out at 3 a.m. to code. Remember the monopoly monster who became a vaccine angel. Remember that the second half of your life can be completely different from the first. You just have to choose to write a new program. Call to action. If Bill Gates' transformation gave you hope that you can become someone new, hit that like button for every second act that matters more than the first. Subscribe for more stories of impossible reinvention. And in the comments below, what is one thing you believed in your 20s that you have completely changed your mind about? Thank you for watching. Read a book. Save a child. Reinvent yourself. Fade to black. A library lamp clicking off. Soft, hopeful strings. It is fine to celebrate success, but it is more important to heed the lessons of failure. Bill Gates,